Okay, Kyle Busch wins again for the 81st time in his NASCAR career. He wins in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. He's the driver of the number 18 NOS Energy Drink Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's joined by crew chief Chris Gale and also vice president of competition for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, that's Steve D'Souza. Is that your title, Steve?
What's your title today?
You added some names to that one. Yeah.
Did I?
Vice President of Competition Director? What is it?
General do it all.
Executive Vice President.
Executive Vice President
Executive Vice President of Xfinity Series Operations.
of Xfinity Series Operations. Thank you, Kyle. Kyle always puts me in my place.
Whatever.
But anyhow, this is his fifth
GM
win.
of the shop.
Fifth win in 2016, his second win here at Kentucky Speedway. Kyle, talk about this win tonight. It certainly didn't come easy there at the end. Just talk about how you thought that things played out for you in the number 18 car tonight, and you had to fend off one of your teammates and then also the number 2 Chevrolet of Austin Dillon.
Yeah, obviously there at the end, you know, we had a really fast race car and we were running some really quick lap times and trying to stay ahead of our teammate Daniel Suarez there for a lot of laps from that third to last restart, whatever it was. And then, you know, I was hoping that it would just kind of go green to the end. I felt pretty good about where we were and about the gap that I had on Suarez. So unfortunately, we got a caution there late in the game that kind of set up a green-white checker finish, and Suarez wasn't able to come home second, but we were still able to get a win. So feels good to score that victory here tonight and get back to victory lane here at Kentucky Speedway. It's been a long, long time for the JGR Xfinity Series program. For me, it's been a long time, so you know, it certainly feels good.
Very good. And Chris Gale, tell us about this win here tonight. A new repave, a new tire. Just talk about all the preparation that you had to do and all the adjustment that you had to do the last couple of days.
Yeah, you know, really there wasn't a whole lot of adjustment. We were definitely worried about the tires. You know, we had seen only 10 laps or so in practice having blisters, so, you know, we kind of went into the night going, how long are we going to be able to go? We know when we're going to start blistering them, but can we run another 15 laps, 20 laps? What can we go before then maybe they come apart and create a problem? And we really didn't, I don't think anyone knew what that was going to be until we got into the race tonight. And then, you know, once we kind of got those 2, you know, right side tire stops done earlier and then got the full 50 lap stint on those one set of tires, and we could go 50 laps, and they were, you know, they looked bad, but not as bad as what we saw in the truck race last night, and not as bad as what we expected, then kind of relieved all of us a little bit. And we really didn't have to adjust on the car too much. We kind of had to make it take off a little better for him on the 1.4 tire stop, and he got loose towards the end of the last run, so we just made a couple small adjustments really, but it's a pretty good night not to have too many issues. Absolutely. And Steve, certainly the Joe Gibbs Racing fleet continues to excel. All of your cars are just having super seasons, and just talk about that and you know what it means to the organization certainly, and you know, as you continue now, as we go towards the second half of the season, certainly you have 2 cars obviously that can contend for the championship as well.
Well, that's true. We have 2 that are contending for the Drivers' Championship, and then the 18 contending for the Owners' Championships. So all 3 of them are going after championships, and obviously we're really proud of the way and the effort that they're all putting together. All 3 teams work well together, and the results are showing up on the racetrack. So we're really proud of all the guys. Appreciate Kyle and Chris as our senior guys, you know, helping the young guys come along, and that's paying dividends for the entire group.
We'll take questions now for Kyle, Chris, or Steve. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll bring you the wireless mic. Start right here with Gary.
Gary Graves, Associated Press. Kyle, what were you thinking during that one restart where Eric Jones's car seemed to stall and eventually handed the lead back to you?
Yeah, the restart before that where I chose the bottom, Chris Gale and I were just talking about that, and I gave Eric Jones the top. I figured that was going to be the smart thing to do because I had been trying to run around some lap cars on the top side of 3 and 4, and you would just get so loose on entry, and then you would get so tight in the middle of the corner that you were taking a really big risk of getting outside the black and getting into the gray and potentially, you know, crashing your car. So that's why I didn't want the outside. I just didn't think it was going to carry the speed like the inside would, and Eric Jones proved me wrong, you know, so I certainly learned from that. And then when he had his problems there with not being able to get the car refired, you know, it just kind of handed the race back to us. And from there, I chose to restart on the outside from there on out. And that's what won us the race, you know, just being able to have that outside and to have that control over the car on the inside. You know, a guy could could over push it and make a mistake and try to run you hard and get loose and run into you and push you up in the gray. But, you know, smartly, Dylan didn't do that, and we ran a good race, and we kept a lot of throttle through 3 and 4. I was nervous that I wasn't going to be able to clear him, but we were able to, and you know, set sail from there that final lap.
I believe there's a question in the press box. Go ahead.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Kyle, my question is related to that. Did the fact that Eric was able to hold the top around you and get by you give you the confidence that you could make that same move against Austin?
Yeah, it did. You know, when Eric drove off into turn 3 with me, you know, I started to roll out just a little bit because I knew I needed to in order to run the bottom. And he drove right on past me, and I was like, well, alrighty then. And you know, I was waiting for him to slip and not be able to control his car in the black, in the rubber, and it stuck for him, and he made it work. So from there, I definitely learned that there was a little bit of speed up there, at least for one lap, for one corner, being on the outside of a guy, and also it kind of disturbed the air on my car a little bit too. So I knew that you know, having that opportunity again, if I could have the top, then I'd be able to do the same thing. So that's what I did at the end.
Back downstairs, any further questions? Let's go right here. Chris Knight. Let's get this gentleman here. And I saw Chris back there. I'm sorry, Chris. Get this gentleman and then Chris.
Hey, Kyle, you want to talk a little bit about how much the track expanded as far as lanes tonight and how much more you think it'll grow tomorrow night?
Yeah, it did. Every night it's gotten a little bit wider. That's been an interesting trait for sure. I wasn't expecting that. I didn't think that we would have that happen, but I think it has a lot to do with the racetrack, Kentucky Speedway, bringing in the tire monster and being able to put some rubber down. And it's not as slick as it probably could have been if they didn't run that, you know. But 1 and 2 has certainly gotten 1 3/4 lanes wide. You can run 2 wide through there, but you're really pinching the guy on the inside in order to do that. So, you know, you can do it with lap cars because you don't really run side by side with them. You just kind of, you know, blow by them. And you're not side by side for a long time, so it doesn't disturb your car or their car for a lot of the corner. And you know, turn 3 is still a little edgy, getting down in there side by side. You know, there's times where the outside car, he'll want to turn down into the corner, and you're on his inside, or you're coming up to get to his inside. It makes you a little nervous because it is so flat there, and you do get so tight together that the air could come off your car. So you know, turn 3 does get a little edgy. For sure, but you know, the racetrack is wider than I expected it to be this weekend, and hopefully it continues to widen out a little bit more even tomorrow.
Go ahead, Chris.
Chris Knight, CatchFence.com. Congratulations on the win. It's your first win here at Kentucky since 2004 on the Xfinity side. I know last year on the Cup side you got that cool trophy from Crosley, which is the jukebox. I'm just wondering what you might do with the Xfinity one.
I'm not sure. You know, certainly getting the one that we got last year was really cool. And being able to win the Cup Series 1 here, that was really special. So we'll see how tomorrow goes. Maybe we can get another one and have too many to deal with. But, you know, this one right here, I guess tonight the Xfinity guys and Brexton are going to be fighting over that one. So we'll see who wins that battle.
Okay, and then also follow up today in Sprint Cup Series practice, one of the most brilliant saves I've seen in a Cup car in a long time. I was just wondering if you could walk us through what you were going through.
Yeah, I don't. The car was good. It was fast. We had just run 3 laps earlier than that, the fastest lap of the practice, and all of a sudden, just going through 1 and 2, it got a little bit loose on me, and then I throttled up and drove through that, and it was fine. And then I hit that bump out of the exit of turn 2 on the bottom side of the racetrack, and it just jumped sideways on me and lost traction, and somehow I held on to it from sliding and spinning out this way. And then when it kind of came back the other way, I just had to make sure that I had the steering wheel cranked to it so it wouldn't cut back and nose into the wall or hit the wall some way or spin out the opposite way. You know, you just had to be ahead with the steering wheel. So it was definitely a very tense moment, one that I would not want to do again, but, you know, certainly was a good show, I guess. So, you know, it scared me enough that there's no more need for any more of that.
Any additional questions? Okay, guys, congratulations on tonight's win, and Kyle, certainly good luck to you tomorrow night here at Kentucky.